Time now for the Morning Rush.
And we start with Kristen Curry.
We'll begin with our big weather maker crossing the state today, so the rain and snow continuing to fill in through lunchtime over northern and western New Mexico. It's all about the winds on the eastern side of the state, but Albuquerque favored for a few rain snow mixed showers, but by this evening most of this clears out, and then going to bed tonight, waking up tomorrow morning, we've got nothing but sunshine expected through the day tomorrow. Crystal?
And we're staying on top of overnight news this morning. APD investigating a man found dead in the parking lot of the Smith's grocery store on Coors and Central last night. Police were initially called out to an injured person around 10:30. When officers arrived, they found the man already dead. Officers are not calling it a homicide just yet, but we're waiting to hear more details from APD throughout the day. We'll keep you updated right here on KRQE News 13.
As you wake up today, investigators are trying to figure out what caused a deadly plane crash in a Southern California neighborhood. 3 of the 5 people on board that plane are dead. We're told that the 2 survivors are women. Police say the plane crashed just moments after taking off, heading home after a cheerleading competition. No one on the ground was hurt. However, 2 homes did erupt in flames.
New at 6 this morning, officials within the Jewish community are calling out lawmakers. The JCC of North America wants Congress and all elected officials to condemn the recent wave of bomb threats against Jewish centers and schools. This comes after threats against 21 facilities just yesterday. There have been scores of similar threats this year, including one in Albuquerque last Monday.
Also new this morning, a Santa Fe man is waking up behind bars accused of causing a deadly car crash. State police say on Friday night on I-25 near San Felipe, 18-year-old Luke Griffin rear-ended another car, killing 49-year-old Karina Vaden and injuring 2 others. Griffin is now facing multiple charges, including homicide by vehicle and DWI.
A Los Lunas firefighter behind bars this morning facing rape charges after police say he attacked a teenage girl. Police say 44-year-old Michael Laws had guests at his house this weekend. They say Laws was drunk, went into the room where the alleged victim and a friend were sleeping, and forced himself on the girl. Police say Laws later admitted to it. No word on his work status this morning.
And with a little over a month left in the ski season, some resorts around the state say they could still use more snow before the end of winter. Resorts in the southern half like Ski Cloudcroft say their totals are down about 2/3 from a normal year like 2016. They're blaming a lack of significant snow and higher temperatures. Meanwhile, resorts in the north like Ski Santa Fe and Taos Ski Valley say their totals are hovering just below average, but plan to stay open until the scheduled end of the season. Kristen?
Good news there. Our northern mountain ski resorts will get some snow through the day today. Albuquerque looking at a mix of the rain and snow. That Metro Threat Index all the way up to a 9, though, looking at much cooler temperatures today and very strong winds. Those sustained speeds out of the west-southwest will reach 25 to 35 miles per hour, gusts 45 to 60 here in the metro. Adam?
New this morning, a Senate bill that would allow independent voters to cast ballots in primary elections is awaiting more discussion moving forward. That's according to the Santa Fe New Mexican. The bill passed through a Senate committee yesterday, but changes were shot down that would have allowed not just unaffiliated voters, but also voters registered with smaller political parties to participate in Democratic and Republican elections.
A bill that could spur the installation of solar panels on New Mexico state buildings is moving on this morning. Yesterday, the Senate voted to direct the State General Services Department to pursue contracts with solar providers. It could save the state money on electricity costs over time with no upfront public investment.
New details. Despite strong evidence that suggests tanning beds or booths cause skin cancer, the use of the indoor devices is on the rise in the U.S. A University of North Carolina study reveals an estimated 30 million people use the tanning beds at least once a year, costing $343 million a year in medical costs.
On to news happening today. The de facto chief of Samsung could be indicted by prosecutors. Special prosecutors say they'll indict Lee Jae-yong today on bribery, embezzlement, and other charges in a corruption scandal that already toppled the nation's president. The company says several other Samsung execs who are also facing criminal charges will soon leave their position.
Former President George W. Bush's new book is now in the top spot of Amazon's best-selling book list. That book, Portraits of Courage, a Commander-in-Chief's tribute to America's warriors, is a collection of portraits and stories by Bush featuring military veterans who have served since 9/11. The book officially hits stores today. Kristen?
Time now for a check on your Tuesday morning commute. Good news is nothing major to slow you down. We're actually looking at posted speeds on both interstates and surface streets. Hopefully we can keep it that way, but we'll let you know if otherwise.
On to new details. Scientists at the University of Pennsylvania report for the first time that activity in certain regions of the brain may explain why some stories on the internet go viral. Doctors studying brain patterns of 80 people could predict which news articles ended up being shared the most. Pretty fascinating.
And soon, SpaceX says it could attempt to send 2 people like you around the moon. It will take the amateur space travelers near the moon's surface further into space, then right back down to Earth. They would board the capsule, a fully automated spacecraft with no human pilot, and travel a distance of 3,000 to 4,000 miles.
It is Mardi Gras. Today's a big party day in New Orleans as revelers gear up for the final day. The streets will be filled with costumed people, dazzling floats featuring kings and queens, and people of all ages screaming for trinkets and beads. And right at the stroke of midnight, police on horseback do a ceremonial clearing of revelers on Bourbon Street to mark the formal end of the carnival season before Lent begins.
Yeah, today's Fat Tuesday.
It sure is.
Pretty exciting. All right, time now for the 5 facts.
On to number 5, Albuquerque skyline could soon look a lot different. The city's now accepting proposals from developers through June 30th as part of a competition to build a new iconic high-rise building downtown. The city will then offer 2 pieces of property to sell or lease the winning developers.
And number 4, APD says if possible, pay with cash if you plan to fill up on the way to work or school this morning. This as police investigate a new skimmer scheme to steal your money at gas stations. Unlike other skimmers that attach where customers swipe their cards, these can't be seen outside the machines at the pump. APD has recovered 3 since Friday in the metro, but they say they think there may be more.
On to number 3 now. APS is moving forward, keeping its transgender bathroom policy intact, at least for now. Last week, President Trump ended a federal directive telling schools to let transgender students use bathrooms and locker rooms of their chosen gender, saying it should be decided on the local level. APS says until President Trump explains a policy of deciding the issue locally, students can continue to use facilities based on the gender they identify with instead of the gender they were born with.
At number 2, very windy across central, southern, and eastern New Mexico. Rain and snow up over the north and west. Cooler temperatures today and tomorrow will warm up with a lot more sunshine coming in by Thursday. But make sure you're staying up to date with us. We'll have more updates on those strong to potentially damaging winds.
And number 1, President Trump preparing to deliver what many are calling his biggest speech yet tonight. He'll address a joint session of Congress outlining his policy priorities. One of the most talked about, the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. The president could give Congress instruction on replacing it and a directive of how quickly to get started. Some local jurisdictions will also likely to be looking to see if the president will clarify his idea of cooperation between federal and local officials to enforce immigration laws. You can watch the president's speech tonight live on KRQE starting at 7 o'clock.